The vanishing driver. The public always thinks police officers fear criminals, weapons, or dangerous chases. But ask any old-school officer and they'll tell you the truth. It's the things they can't explain that keep them awake at night. This is one of those stories. It started just after 2 a.m. on a frozen stretch of highway outside Redwood County. Officers Daniels and Ruiz were responding to a speeding white van that had blown past a traffic camera at nearly 140 kilometers per hour. Dispatch kept the radio steady, repeating the same thing. Unit 12, maintain visual. The target vehicle is still accelerating. The dashcam footage, later leaked online, shows the van weaving between lanes with impossible precision. Every time it looked like it would collide with a guardrail, it corrected at the last second. No sign of swerving, no struggle, no hesitation. Daniels, gripping the steering wheel, muttered, "Whoever's driving that thing has ice in their veins." But Ruiz shook his head. No human handles a van like that. The pursuit lasted almost 8 minutes. The officers expected the van to crash or at least slow down due to the bends in the road, but instead, it suddenly braked, so hard that the squad car nearly rear-ended it. The van rolled to a gentle, perfect stop on the shoulder. And then nothing. No door opening. No movement inside. No silhouette behind the wheel. Daniels stepped out first, body cam recording every second. Frosty air blew from under the vehicle as he approached cautiously. "Driver, let me see your hands." No response. He circled to the driver's window, shining his flashlight inside, and froze. There was no one in the vehicle. No driver. No passenger. No belongings. No footprints in the snow around the van. Nothing but silence. Ruiz, trembling slightly, checked the rear doors. Locked. He pulled on the handle 3 times. Still locked. Bodycam audio catches him whispering, "Daniels, no one got out. I swear on my badge. No one." They opened the door with a spare key from dispatch. The interior lights flickered like struggling fireflies. The seats were cold, untouched, dusted with a thin layer of frost, as if the van had been sitting there for hours, not seconds. Then something happened the public didn't see in the leaked clip. As Daniels leaned in, a faint tap sounded on the driver's side window behind him. Not loud, more like a fingernail against glass. Tap, tap, tap. Both officers spun around. Nothing was there. But before they could process it, the radio crackled violently with static. And through the static, a voice whispered, no modulation, no background noise, just a pure, breathy whisper. "Back seat." Ruiz stumbled backward so fast he nearly fell. Daniels forced himself to shine his flashlight toward the rear seats. For a moment, the body cam lens distorts just for a second, and something pale presses against the tinted glass. A shape. A hand. Fingers too long, or maybe the angle just made them look that way. Then it vanished. The officers tore away from the vehicle, radios failing in bursts of static. They retreated to the cruiser and called for backup. When the secondary unit arrived 12 minutes later, the van's interior was exactly as the first officers had found it, empty, untouched, and completely still. But here's the detail that never made it to the official report. The van belonged to a man reported missing 4 days earlier. A man last seen driving alone at night on that same highway. His phone, wallet, and jacket were found neatly folded in the back seat, as if placed intentionally. To this day, neither Daniels nor Ruiz will talk about what they saw. Ruiz transferred to desk duty 6 weeks later. Daniels refuses night shifts entirely. The department labeled the incident mechanical abandonment. But the officers who were there, the ones who heard the whisper, say otherwise. One of them summed it up best. That van wasn't driven by a person. And whatever was in there wanted us to know that. The abandoned building case. If you ask Officer Lena Morales about the worst night of her career, she won't talk about the chases or the fights or the dangerous calls. She'll talk about the building on Harrow Street, the place she refuses to even drive past now. It started with a simple welfare check. Dispatch reported screams coming from inside a condemned structure, an old 4-story brick building formerly used as a community shelter. It had been closed for years, boarded up, sealed, and tagged for demolition. No power, no water, no access. At least, that's what the city claimed. Lena and her partner, Officer Briggs, arrived just after 1:40 a.m. Their dashcam captured the building rising out of the darkness like a fossil, cracked windows, rusted fire escape, the works. Briggs glanced at her. Kids messing around. Probably a prank call. But Lena shook her head. The voice on the 911 tape wasn't a prank. It was strained. Weak. Almost whispering for help. Body cams rolling, they approached the entrance. The front door was chained shut with a lock so old it was nearly fused to the metal. Yet when Briggs touched it, it swung open. No effort, no noise, just opened, like someone inside had quietly unlatched it. They exchanged a long look. "Anyone in here? Identify yourself," Briggs called out. Silence swallowed his voice. The beam of Lena's flashlight cut across peeling wallpaper, overturned furniture, and hallways thick with dust. It smelled like mold, old wood, and something wet. About 20 minutes in, they reached the second-floor landing. That's when the radios began acting up. The audio turned choppy, distorted, as if something heavy was interfering with the signal. Briggs hit his shoulder mic. "Dispatch, do you copy?" A burst of static. Then a faint sound behind them. Footsteps. But not running footsteps, soft, dragging ones. Like someone walking barefoot across old concrete. Lena swung her light back down the hallway. "No one." "Briggs, someone's here." He nodded, jaw tight. "Third floor." They climbed the stairs slowly. Each step creaked like old bones. Halfway up, Lena froze. Her body cam captured a movement, a quick flicker of white cloth disappearing around a corner. She whispered, "Did you see that?" Briggs didn't answer. He was staring upward, expression draining from his face. "Who's there?" "Come out slowly." Another movement. A door on the third floor, one that had been closed moments before, was now wide open. They stepped inside carefully. A long hallway stretched ahead, lined with doors on both sides. Most were sealed shut with wooden planks, but one near the end was gently rocking. Forward, backward, forward, backward. Like someone on the other side was barely pushing it. Lena swallowed hard. "Hello? If someone's hurt, we can help you." The door stopped moving. A soft whisper came from behind it. Not words, just a breathy, trembling sound. Almost like someone trying to speak, but too afraid to finish. Briggs nodded at Lena. She pushed the door open. The room inside was empty. Dust everywhere, untouched for years. The air was cold, much colder than the hallway. Lena's breath fogged visibly. And then, tap, tap, tap. A sound from beneath the floorboards. Briggs crouched, shining his flashlight at a narrow crack in the wood. Something pale shifted underneath, something that moved away the instant light touched it. "What was that?" Lena whispered. Before Briggs could answer, every door in the hallway slammed shut. Hard. The noise exploded through the building like thunder. Lena's body cam shook as she stumbled backward. The hallway lights, dead for years, flashed on for half a second. And in that half second, her camera captured something she didn't see until later. A figure standing at the end of the hall. Tall. Motionless. Featureless. Like a silhouette cut out of darkness. Then darkness again. "Briggs, we need to go." They ran. Down the stairs, out the entrance, back into the freezing night. As they reached the cruiser, Briggs stopped suddenly. "Lena, look." Up on the third floor, through a cracked window, a small figure stood watching them. Not tall like the one in the hallway. Small. Child-sized. It lifted a hand, not waving, pointing directly at them. Briggs backed away slowly. "We're leaving." "Call this in. Now." They returned with a full team the next morning, structural engineers, investigators, supervisors. They combed the building for hours. They found no one. No footprints. No sign of squatters. But one thing did stand out. The dust in the hallway from the night before had a fresh trail through it, shaped like small, bare feet, leading toward the cracked window. And nowhere else. Some say it was a child's spirit. Others say it was a reflection, a trick of the light. But Lena Morales, who refuses to go back, always says the same thing. Whatever was in that building, it wasn't trying to hurt us. It was trying to get our attention. The highway ghost and the vanishing driver. Officer Ron Daly had worked traffic enforcement for almost 20 years. Nothing surprised him anymore, until the night he chased the silver sedan. It was a little past midnight when the dispatcher radioed in a speeding vehicle traveling northbound on Highway 78. Daly positioned his cruiser on the side shoulder, ready to clock it. Seconds later, the sedan shot past him like a bullet. 85, 92, 101 miles per hour. Daly flipped on his lights and gave chase. His dashcam showed the sedan swerving between lanes but never losing control. It moved smoothly, almost deliberately, as if gliding over the asphalt rather than gripping it. "Dispatch, I'm in pursuit," he said. But there was no response. His radio buzzed with distorted static. 5 miles into the pursuit, the sedan did something impossible. Instead of taking the exit ramp, it veered across it, straight into a maintenance road that was fenced off. Daly watched in disbelief as the sedan slipped through the gap, as if the barrier weren't even solid. When he reached the fence, the cruiser's headlights illuminated the metal, intact, locked with a heavy chain. No damage. No opening. But the sedan was gone. Daly got out of the vehicle, cameras still recording. The night was cold, windless. The maintenance road stretched ahead of him, but the tire track stopped 20 feet in and then simply vanished. No skid marks. No debris. No sign of the driver. "Hello," he called into the dark. His voice echoed strangely, like the highway swallowed the sound and threw it back late. That's when he noticed something on his cruiser's rear window. A handprint. Small. Pale. Perfectly outlined in condensation. He hadn't touched the window. No one had. Daly wiped it with his sleeve, heart hammering harder than he wanted to admit. He scanned the road again with his flashlight. On the far left, near the tree line, something moved, a flicker of white, like fabric catching moonlight. He raised the light. A woman stood there, still, facing him. She wore a long white dress that looked impossibly clean for someone standing in dirt. Her hair draped over her shoulders, unmoving despite the breeze. But what unnerved Daly most was her posture. One shoulder slightly dropped, head tilted just enough to look unnatural. "Ma'am, are you hurt? Do you need help?" Daly's voice shook despite training telling him to stay calm. The woman didn't answer. She didn't blink. "Ma'am, this is a restricted area. I need you to step forward slowly." Still nothing. Daly approached, carefully, cautiously. His camera showed the beam of the flashlight trembling slightly as he neared. But when he got within 10 feet, she vanished. Not stepped away. Not turned. Not ran. She blinked out like a projection shutting off. The maintenance road went silent again. Daly steadied his breath and scanned the area. His boots crunched on gravel and broken twigs. The trees whispered in the light wind, but nothing else moved. Then, tap. A soft knock on the cruiser's back window. Daly whipped around, flashlight beams slicing through the dark. No one. But another handprint had appeared, fresh, on the same window he wiped earlier. Slightly lower. Slightly smaller. "Dispatch," he whispered into his radio. I need assistance." Static. Then, faintly, "Officer Daly, step away from the vehicle." But it wasn't dispatch. The voice didn't belong to anyone he knew. Low. Breathless. Too close. Daly stumbled backward, pointing his flashlight at the trees, the road, the fence. He circled the cruiser, breath turning to fog in the cold. Inside the car, something moved. No, reflected. In the rearview mirror. A shape. A silhouette sitting in the back seat, motionless. His body cam captured his trembling breath as he reached for the door handle, pulled it open. The back seat was empty. But the camera saw what he didn't. For a fraction of a second, a pale face pressed against the glass, eyes wide, mouth slightly open, before dissolving back into the dark. Daly slammed the door and got inside, hands shaking as he started the engine. He floored the accelerator, tearing back onto the highway at nearly the same speed as the phantom sedan. He didn't slow down until he reached the next exit. When backup arrived, they found him sitting outside the cruiser, pale, exhausted, unable to explain what he experienced without sounding insane. The vehicle was examined, the area searched, the footage reviewed. No driver of the sedan was ever identified. No footprints near the trees. No signs anyone had been present. But the handprints remained. Small, cold, real. Even after cleaning the windows 3 times, faint outlines appeared again the next morning, perfectly shaped, as though whoever left them wasn't ready to move on. To this day, Daly insists the sedan wasn't the threat. It was following something. Something that latched onto him when he tried to help. No one could say what the woman on the road was, or who the handprints belonged to, or why the driver vanished from a moving car on a sealed maintenance road. But if you ask Daly what happened that night, he'll always say, "Some cases end when you clear the call. This one followed me home."